My decision to go for this trip most probably started when it was announced at our care group that this trip is coming up, right? Of course, they announced 2 trips, which was the off the beaten track was one of them, and the other one was that first, I think, is on the footsteps of Jesus. So we decided that we'd like to go for the off the beaten track because I like Petra and you see on photographs, right? And then we get to go to Israel, right? It was a win-win situation.
Though when I mentioned it to my colleagues and friends, they're like, you're going to the Middle East? Aren't you scared or worried? And we were like, no. Our church has been going so often, no issues, and we are going to, the land where our God is from. I'm not going to be worried about it. We are going to be very safe. For me, it was the excitement, like this is where Jesus was, and walked through, and to be able to walk on the same ground. And I don't know how to explain that in words. It really meant a lot to me. And of course, the Bible comes alive. You get to see what you read in the Bible, the different places. So when you go back and read the Bible, then you can visualize, this is where I was. When we were there, we had a session where somebody spoke from the top and how it carried, the voice carried down to the valley below, and we could hear it. So that experience was also very exciting.
This place called King Solomon's Quarry, right? Zedekiah's cave. And it was very fascinating that they dug out all these huge blocks, right, from the quarry. Bulk of it was used to build the temple by King Solomon, And you see the limestone background with the eerie lights and stuff like that, right? And it's a very nice, pictorially, right? It was a very, very beautiful environment. And then, of course, when somebody speaks down there, right, it reverberates, so you get a cathedral type of effect, So we had some songs there, and we did some. But the interesting thing about that cave is there's a message somewhere back there, right, that says that God took us out of there from that darkness and He molded us. That means it was perfectly done, big stone blocks that were brought out from there in silence. And then, crafted and everything else. They put some flowers or some petals or some designs on it. And then it gets transported and placed in its proper location, right? Which was where we went through next, which was to the temple itself, where we see the physical positioning of these huge blocks, right, in their rightful place. So all this was done at the temple with no metal thing. So it was perfectly done inside. We were brought out from our darkness, similarly molded in that darkness, brought out to light, and finally placed at a very prominent place. So these things become very vivid and very clear, and very nice, interesting experience,
We also went through the pilgrimage road that was newly opened, and we were the privileged few to have seen it firsthand. That was also quite an experience.
So just to add to that pilgrimage route, right, there was a particular stone or rock or whatever on that route, right? It's a very old, ancient pathway that was supposedly existent when Jesus was walking the route also, where Jesus stood and spoke, where many people most probably stood and spoke back in them days, Now those are very interesting, once in a lifetime type of experiences.
We've been to many countries, but definitely Israel stands out. That's because there was a kind of belonging. When we went there and we came back, we were like totally. Of course, other countries you go, we see this, we do that, a lot of shopping, a lot of eating, but this was solely to enjoy the Bible. The Bible comes out alive, to us. So that was one of the reasons it really appealed to us, that we were going to where Jesus walked, where Jesus is from. And that really stuck with us while we were there. That's something that we brought back with us. Yes.
For a Christian, I think there is an added dimension, because what really happens is, assuming that you have the right guide and you have somebody to explain to you from a biblical perspective aspects of what you are seeing, I think that you will have a renewed experience that, at some spiritual level, right, the Holy Spirit might even talk to you and explain certain things that might be only things that for you to know. I mean, different people see the same things, but each one gets his own revelation from that. So you would get your own personal revelation, because I got many revelations, and so you will get your own personal revelation, right, on things that affect you personally.
I would recommend Omega Travels for Israel trip because I had a wonderful time, very well organized, right from the start, from the ticketing, getting onto the plane, getting off at Amman, and going from there to Israel. It was all very well organized. There was no delay because people think, you're going in groups, 80 of you, is there time delay and all? No, everything was taken care of thoroughly, So I feel Omega is very experienced in doing these Israel trips.
The beautiful part of a trip, right? Yes, we have Omega organized, everything was beautiful, but the presence of God in this trip was very, very evident, So I just want to say that it was a blessed trip. Since that, Omega did a very good job. And of course, throughout the trip, I felt the presence of the Holy Spirit, and it made the whole, experience a wonderful experience.